Today, we will discover the 9 visions that people experience at the threshold of death. The loss of a loved one awakens a torrent of questions. What sensations will they have? Where will they be? Have they seen the light? Will they rest in peace? Will they feel well? Memories, although painful, also provide support. The emptiness we feel in our souls mirrors the love we shared. Love does not extinguish, it simply transforms. If you have lost someone special, you might still feel their presence when you close your eyes, and thinking of that person may fill your heart with sadness. If you have ever felt this way, this video is for you. Today, I will reveal the 9 visions that people witness as they leave this physical plane. The basis of this information comes from both the Holy Scriptures and testimonials from individuals who have had near-death experiences. This phenomenon is also known by its acronym NDE, which describes those who have reached a state of clinical death and then return to life, able to narrate their experiences at the moment of dying. Let's begin by describing the first vision people experience when dying, the encounter with loved ones who have preceded them. At that crucial moment, when breathing stops and the heart beats its last, something truly extraordinary occurs. At the moment of death, the individual meets deceased relatives and friends, waiting to guide them towards the light, enveloping them in an environment of peace and happiness. Picture your loved one in their last moment, closing their eyes for the last time. However, upon opening them again, they find themselves in a new reality, suspended between life and death, surrounded by familiar faces who passed before. This is not a dream or a hallucination. They are truly there, waiting, as if they knew it was their time. This meeting space is also protected by God. As Ecclesiastes points out, God is not a God of the dead, but of the living, for to him all are alive. The spirit then returns to its divine origin, where loved ones gather, while the body returns to the earth from whence it came, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. The person clearly perceives these loved ones who died before, who are there to guide them. There is no fear or loneliness, only an indescribable peace and a warm light that envelops everything. This is echoed in Psalm 36, which proclaims, "With you is the fountain of life. In your light we see light." Moreover, some people have reported that at the moment the deceased sees the light, those present can experience unique sensations, such as a sweet and floral aroma that permeates the room. This aroma is like a whisper from beyond, a sign of the spirits who have come to transport their loved one to a place of serenity. I would like to take a moment to invite you to share in the comments. Narrating your experiences about loved ones who have departed can be very helpful to others. Perhaps you want to share how much you miss that person. Many people who watch this video may be going through a difficult time due to a loss, and will find comfort in reading about your experiences, knowing they are not alone. By sharing, you not only express yourself, but also offer support to those seeking understanding and solidarity in similar moments. For example, you could describe the pain you have felt at losing someone important to you, or tell what actions you took to overcome that loss. It would also be helpful to share advice that others gave you in those difficult times. Your comment could be very helpful to many. Let's continue with the topic. We were saying that sometimes, when a person dies, those nearby can perceive a gentle floral scent. This is a moment charged with tension and emotion, a meeting point between the earthly and the divine that invites us to reflect on the fragility of our existence and what truly matters at the end of the road. In those last moments, riches, achievements, and everyday concerns lose their weight. The only thing that endures is love, that invisible bond that connects us with those who preceded us in departure. At the moment of death, an essential truth is revealed that we all will face. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, For you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Nothing is more powerful than the love that transcends death, a love without limits or borders. In the end, we will all be guided towards that light by those who preceded us, because death does not mark the end, but the beginning of a new journey. The second point that people observe when dying is the sensation of detaching from their material possessions. Another common perception among those on the brink of death is that material possessions, which once seemed essential, lose their importance. This is positive, as it allows them to detach from the earthly and transcend without difficulty. Visualize the last breath of a loved one, that critical moment when everything familiar evaporates into the void. Just as life slips away like sand through the fingers, the value of the material world vanishes. That house you adored, the car you kept impeccable, the jewelry, the diplomas, the achievements, all fade away in an instant. None of these retain their value, as if the proximity of death pulled back the veil on a truth forgotten during our lives. In the last moments, a relentless clarity invades the mind of the dying. It is then that a profound reflection becomes evident. Possessions, wealth, and accumulated goods are but ephemeral illusions with no weight at the threshold of life and death. For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. This thought resonates powerfully at the moment the person sheds all material possessions. The definitive separation from the earthly world implies a liberation that allows one to move forward, unencumbered toward the unexplored. It is a moment of absolute and stark truth. Everything that was fought for and everything that was once a concern disappears in an instant. The essential does not reside in the material. It is not the mansion, the money in the bank, nor the objects that once formed our identity. What good is it for a man to gain the whole world, yet forfeit his soul? This question acquires a profound meaning suddenly. Ultimately, only the soul endures, stripped of worldly ties, and here introspection deepens, reaching an almost universal character. At heart, we all sense that there is something beyond the material, something that surpasses the physical. This is a common perception, although we often neglect it amidst the noise of everyday life. Death confronts us with this reality in an unavoidable way. At that moment, we realize that true wealth does not lie in our possessions, but in what we are, in what we harbor in our hearts and souls. This renunciation of the material is not a punishment, but a gift. It allows us to transcend without burdens, without weights dragging us into the gloom. It prepares us for the encounter with the eternal, with the divine. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. At the moment of death, this advice becomes clear. It is then that the light shines brighter, and the soul, freed from ties, ascends towards the infinite. This is the final act of liberation at the end of the path. In the end, only what is essential remains. Material aspects fade, and the soul is ready for its transcendental journey. This fact reminds us all that what truly matters in life is not what we accumulate, but who we are, the love we share, and the peace we cultivate within ourselves, as this constitutes the true wealth that will accompany us in our departure. Now, let's continue with the third aspect that people experience when dying. The third phenomenon, often reported by those who pass through death, is seeing their own body from above. When dying, many individuals experience how their consciousness elevates and observe from a higher viewpoint. They see their inert body and loved ones gathered around, crying and expressing their grief. In that instant, they can perceive everything, hear and feel intensely. Sometimes they even manage to say goodbye emotionally to their loved ones. Imagine that life, with all its pains and beauties, reaches its climax. In those final moments, the loved one exhales their last breath, and what follows is indescribable. Suddenly, though no longer in their body, they have not completely gone. They find themselves floating in limbo between earthly existence and eternity. From this aerial perspective, they observe everything. Their lifeless bodies surrounded by grief-stricken faces, tears and despair. However, they are in a different space, a place from which they contemplate everything that happens, like a spectator of their own departure. This moment is one of the most moving and significant that a person can live after crossing the threshold of death. For a body without a spirit no longer has life. Now freed from the body that served as their dwelling for years, your loved one has transformed into pure spirit. From this elevated perspective, they perceive everything with unprecedented clarity. They see their loved ones, feel their pain, hear their cries, and share their anguish as if it were their own. It is a moment as devastating as it is transcendental. Mourn with those who mourn perfectly reflects this moment, witnessing the immense love that surrounds them, a love so deep that the tears seem like rain. They realize how much they meant to their loved ones and how their absence has left an irreplaceable void. But there is more. From their privileged position, they can offer a final goodbye. Though wordless, their message is communicated in a spiritual language, a language of the soul that transcends the human. The spirit of your loved one confirms to our spirits the depth of their testimony. It is a goodbye filled with love, gratitude, and peace. It is a silent farewell that, however, reverberates in the hearts of those left behind. In this way, the spirit communicates with the living, delivering its last goodbye and leaving a profound reflection, an inherent truth that we sometimes hide in the depths of our being. Death is not an end, but a transition, a transformation. While your loved one observes from above, they understand that life is not measured by the number of years, but by the love shared, the bonds forged, and the impact they left on those who now mourn them. And I heard a voice from heaven saying, "Blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. Yes," says the Spirit, "they will rest from their labor, for their deeds will follow them." From that elevated perspective, what your loved one perceives is a mirror of the life they have lived. It is a moment of personal reflection, not of condemnatory judgment, but of recognizing the purest truth. At that moment, it becomes clear what truly matters: love, compassion, the memories left behind. Although their physical presence has ceased, their spirit remains vibrant, bidding farewell without fading, indelibly marking the hearts of those who loved them. It is a time full of emotional tension, but also of profound peace, as in that silence, your loved one understands that although their earthly life has concluded, love endures, it never ceases. This is the most impactful and comforting truth, one that surpasses even death. Following this enlightening encounter, the fourth of the visions that people have when dying involves visits in dreams to the living to say goodbye. After their departure, some remain for a brief period in this plane, using that time to visit places or people special for various reasons. One of these reasons is to say goodbye to family members who could not be present in their final moments, providing them comfort and closure. Therefore, some report having seen in dreams or even felt the presence of deceased loved ones, often at times close to their own death. They travel as the pure energy they now are, leaving a last message of love and farewell. At the crucial moment when the last breath left their body, everything transformed for your loved one. Freed from pain and physical burden, they became light, pure energy. However, they did not immediately detach from this world. Something powerful held them here, a force more imposing than death itself: love. With this new and clear vision, your loved one was aware of having left their physical body, but they were not yet completely ready to leave this world. There were places they needed to visit and farewells pending, as if a final sacred mission called them before crossing to the other side. The first place they went was where their sister was, who had not been present at the moment of their departure, which caused them great unease. They found her asleep, her face marked by tears. They approached, leaned over her, and, though without words, their presence communicated everything. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. Although not an angel, their mission at that moment was to provide comfort and peace. His sister, even in dreams, experienced a sudden relief, a peace that filled her being, and in that moment she knew that everything would be all right. But not only his sister needed a farewell, there were others who also needed that closure, even though they themselves might not have known it yet. To the cousin he hadn't seen in years, to the old friend he always remembered, to each one he left a trace of his essence, whether in dreams or in a sudden breeze. Even though they did not know it consciously, deep in their souls they understood that this visit was their definitive goodbye. In his final journey, he reached a revelation he had never perceived in life. Death did not mark the end, but was simply one more step. Love persists eternally, and like energy or light, it spread through places and loved ones, sowing a particle of its essence in each one. He understood that upon crossing to the beyond, those sparks would continue to illuminate the hearts of those he left in this world. The moment came for your loved one to say goodbye, provide comfort, and conclude each episode of their life. They then felt the call of eternity, a deep serenity inviting them to rest. With one last glance, they surrendered to eternal rest, aware of having fulfilled their purpose. And God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away. Your loved one merged with the light, but their essence, their love, and the traces they left endure in this world, in the hearts of those they touched, forever. Point number 5, they see their own life as a movie. In this final stage, they view their existence as if it were a movie. Whether moments were joyful or difficult, they wish to evaluate whether they fully embraced their life and found happiness. They are shown this way so they can relive those memorable moments and truly understand how their life was on earth. Your loved one has crossed the threshold, that border dividing life from eternity. Yet, instead of dissolving into the void, they now reside in a different dimension, one where time does not operate in the same way, and where past and present intertwine in a continuous sequence of memories. In this phase, a profound revelation occurs. The life of your loved one unfolds before them as if it were a movie, displaying a sequence of images, sounds, and emotions. Every moment, from their childhood days to their final moments, is presented with moving clarity. In this space, there is no room for falsehoods or illusions. Everything is shown as it was, because nothing that was hidden will fail to be revealed, nor will the hidden remain undiscovered. This is the reality laid bare, the complete summary of a life exposed in its entirety. Your loved one observes the happy moments, those days filled with laughter that resonated in the rooms and in which love seemed endless. However, they also contemplate the difficult times, the mistakes made, the decisions taken blindly, and the words they wished they had not said. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may receive what is due him for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad. This moment does not represent a punitive judgment, but rather an introspection, a chance to truly understand the life that your loved one lived. They question whether they were happy, if they seized each day to the fullest, if they loved enough, and if they lived with a clear purpose. It is an intimate reflection that touches the depths of their soul, for in the end, what matters is not only what was done, but how it was lived. Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Now, in this transition between worlds, they seek the wisdom that comes from having lived a full life. In the midst of this reflection, your loved one reaches a vital understanding. Although their life was not perfect, It was filled with moments that defined their true essence. Laughter, tears, victories, and defeats. Everything had a purpose and a meaning that perhaps was not clear during their life, but now is manifested with total clarity. In this final stage, your loved one is not forsaken. They are accompanied by a heavenly presence that guides them in this deep introspection. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the Lord declares. From the beginning to the end, God has been present in every step, now revealing to them the true essence of their life. As this cycle concludes, your loved one discovers that happiness was not a destination to reach, but the journey itself. That true wealth did not reside in the material, but in the shared moments, in acts of love, and in the pursuit of inner serenity. With this new understanding, they reach tranquility, ready to move forward into eternity, aware that their life, despite its imperfections, was lived to the fullest. With this final revelation, they bid farewell to this world full of satisfaction, knowing that every challenge faced was worth it. I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. And now, with a lightened heart and a peaceful soul, your loved one moves toward the brightness that awaits them. Number 6, they perceive an intense light. People who have experienced a close encounter with death often report seeing a bright light, feeling a profound peace, or glimpsing an idyllic place, a paradise from which they do not wish to depart, though they must return because it is not yet their time. However, for those to whom the time has come, that light represents their final destination, the place to which they are led and where they will dwell. In that splendid place of which the Christian scriptures speak, your loved one has reached that crucial point that we all will face. The moment when earthly life vanishes and eternity unfolds before us as a broad horizon. There was no fear, only an intense tranquility that embraced their existence. Suddenly, they perceived it. A light. Not an ordinary light. It shone intensely, was warm and enveloping. It seemed as if every part of their soul was drawn to it, moved by a force more intense than any they had experienced in life. As they approached, the light revealed a place of ineffable beauty, a paradise, a haven of peace where time stopped, where pain and suffering became mere echoes of the past. In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, would I have told you that I go to prepare a place for you? This was the space that had been prepared for them, the ultimate destination where they would find perpetual rest. Your loved one experienced a peace profound, a peace they had never before felt on earth. There was no hurry, no rush. The past, with all its challenges and pains, faded away, replaced by a serenity that enveloped them completely. It was as if every wound and every pain dissolved in that light, leaving behind only the purified essence of their being. For many who have had near-death experiences, this light and this place represent only a brief glimpse, an encounter before returning to life. But for your loved one, there was no turning back. This was their moment, the end of their earthly journey and the beginning of an eternal life in that paradise of which the Christian scriptures speak. The vision of a light at death is interpreted as the encounter with divinity, the manifestation of God's glory, or the entrance to his kingdom. This light symbolizes the guidance and divine love that lead the soul toward eternal life. Although the Bible does not explicitly describe the experience of light at the moment of death, it does offer various passages that help to understand this concept within the context of the faith. In the scriptures, God is described as a light that symbolizes his holiness, purity, and majesty. According to the Gospel of John, it is stated, "God is light, and in him is no darkness at all." This light serves as an emblem of the truth and eternal life that God extends to those who place their faith in him. The presence of light during the final moments of life is interpreted by Christians as the approach to their Creator, described as a pure and radiant light, Jesus Christ also declares himself as the light of the world in John 8, proclaiming, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." This passage underscores that those who have followed Christ will not find themselves in darkness at the time of death, but will be guided by the light towards a perpetual existence. The appearance of the light at death is seen as the divine promise to lead the faithful into the heavenly kingdom. The book of Revelation describes the New Jerusalem in a manner that requires neither sun nor moon, because the glory of God illuminates it, and its lamp is the Lamb. This apocalyptic vision reinforces the idea that those who experience near-death moments are brought by the light towards eternity. In that crucial instant, the light enveloping everything was warm and bright, a sign of God calling his beloved home. The light seen by those near death foreshadows the magnificence of God, offering a welcome to his divine presence in heaven. As your loved one advanced towards that light, everything became clearer. They understood that earthly life was only a preliminary stage, a prelude to reaching that eternal destination. For whoever tries to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for my sake and the gospel's will save it. Here in this serene corner, they realized that the true meaning of existence lay in preparing for this precise moment, to reach this refuge where the soul settles eternally. Thus, with a final look at the world they were leaving, your loved ones submerged completely in the light. There was no sadness nor painful goodbyes, just a profound sense of having fulfilled their mission. At that precise moment, your loved one recognized that they were exactly where they needed to be, in the place where they would forever reside in peace and harmony. In this seventh place, our loved ones discover essential revelations about their being and purpose. They realize that everything they experienced was for their spiritual development, that nothing happened by chance, and that each step was a personal choice. Upon reaching this point, they perceive that their journey has been fruitful, as their spiritual growth has been significant. Your loved one has crossed the threshold of death and now finds themselves in a space where time and space merge into pure consciousness. There is no longer pain or confusion, but a dazzling clarity that unveils profound truths about their previous life. In this state of being, they begin to understand something they had never perceived so clearly before. Everything, absolutely everything, had a purpose. As their consciousness navigates through this new plane of existence, a staggering revelation unfolds. Each moment of their life, from the most trivial to the most significant, was part of a complex design. Nothing was random, everything had its moment, and every desired thing under heaven had its time. Now they understand that each moment of joy and every adversity, every choice they made, were parts of a larger design, one that they had chosen before coming into the world. Your loved one realizes that their life was not merely passing days, but a path towards their spiritual development. All the obstacles they faced and the challenges they overcame were not punishments or bad luck, but valuable lessons and opportunities to strengthen their soul, like a diamond formed under pressure. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Now they understand that this work was their spiritual growth, and every event in their life contributed to the perfection of their spirit. The intensity of this revelation is overwhelming, a moment of deep introspection where they feel the weight of all their decisions and experiences. Their life has been fruitful and has fulfilled the purpose for which they came to this world, and now, with dazzling clarity, they fully comprehend it. Yes, their life has been successful, not by worldly standards, but in terms of the soul. Their spirit has grown, developed, and learned the lessons necessary for their journey. However, this understanding also brings with it a profound reflection. They realize that in life we often get caught up in the superficial and immediate, forgetting that we are here for something greater than just existing. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. In that instant, your loved one realizes that true transformation is not achieved by accumulating goods or seeking recognition, but by nurturing the spirit, loving, forgiving, and learning. With each revelation, peace floods them, doubts and regrets disappear, leaving only a deep understanding that everything experienced had a purpose. Each tear shed, each smile, each gesture of love, and each mistake were crucial parts of the puzzle that they can now see complete. And we understand that to those who love God, all things work together for good. At the threshold of death, this statement shines with greater clarity. Everything, even that which seemed senseless, contributed to their well-being and spiritual growth. Thus, armed with this new understanding, your loved one feels prepared to continue on their path. They have fulfilled their purpose on earth, absorbed the necessary lessons, and now are ready to face what comes next. They are aware that their journey does not end here, as the evolution of the soul persists beyond earthly life, and they accept it with the serenity of one who has given everything of themselves, of one who has lived a life rich in meaning. In this final moment of enlightenment, they bid farewell with affection, leaving a legacy of knowledge and personal development. Their earthly journey has ended, but their spirit persists, moving forward full of peace, wisdom, and the certainty that everything has happened as it should. Number 8. As they cross into eternity and advance towards the light, they begin to discern other figures. These are the loved ones who preceded them, waiting with open arms. Blessed are those who are called to the wedding supper of the Lamb. In this space, beyond what is visible to mortal eyes, souls gather in a reunion filled with joy. There is no longer any pain or suffering, only the essence of love that transcends death. But what they observe is not merely a reunion. As they continue their path, the environment transforms into a landscape dazzlingly beautiful. Although completely different from anything seen on Earth, it feels strangely familiar. Imagine a paradise that becomes reality before their eyes. He who overcomes will inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he will be my son. This promised place, an eternal home where all promises are fulfilled, is the setting of a new heaven and a new earth, free from the stain and corruption of the old world. The colors shine with greater intensity, the air is cleaner, and each step leads to a space where perfection and purity reign. I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. As they venture into this realm, your loved one discovers the holy city, the New Jerusalem. According to the book of Revelation, its streets are made of pure gold, as clear as crystal. Here there is no night, for the light of God illuminates every corner. The walls are adorned with every kind of precious stone, and the gates, made of enormous pearls, remain always open to welcome the redeemed. Walking through these glorious streets, your loved one realizes that they are not alone. They are surrounded by angels, beings of unmatched beauty and purity, who accompany them with soft melodies. And I heard the voice of many angels around the throne, of the living creatures and of the elders. They were myriads and myriads. These angels lead them towards the throne of God, where the journey reaches its climax in a vision of majesty and divine power. At the end, they find themselves before the throne and see God, surrounded by a light so bright that it cannot be looked at directly, but whose presence permeates every part of their being. I observed the one who sat on the throne. His face shone with the brilliance of jasper and carnelian, and a rainbow that seemed carved from emerald encircled the throne. In front of him, a crystal-clear sea reflected the immaculate essence of the divine. Come and discover God. At that precise moment, the soul recognizes its rebirth, feeling complete and resplendent. Your loved one has completed their earthly journey, and with the last pulse of their heart, the familiar fades into a murmur. Suddenly, they find themselves in a different realm, a place where time ceases and peace embraces them. Pain and fear have disappeared, replaced by a serenity that permeates every part of their existence. In that moment, they perceive a presence that has always accompanied them, although perhaps they had never felt it so palpably. It is an overwhelming experience, an indescribable force that envelops them and floods them with a love so pure and perfect that it defies all description. Now we see but a poor reflection as in a mirror, then we shall see face to face. For the first time, your loved one sees clearly what they had only suspected before, the presence of God. What unfolds before them transcends any earthly experience. A dazzling light, brighter than the sun, presents itself before their eyes. Yet this light does not blind, but reveals, and at its core, your loved one contemplates God, not as a distant or unattainable entity, but as the pure essence of all that is good and true. In that luminosity, they see themselves not just as finite beings, but as part of the perpetual design of God. It is a moment of total revelation, where any doubt or fear dissolves in the divine presence. Your loved one experiences a tranquility so immense that it has no parallel with anything lived on earth. They experience complete satisfaction and perpetual joy. There are eternal delights at their side. In this sacred reunion, there is no judgment or criticism, only the embrace of an absolute love that envelops them like a warm blanket. Yet amid this calm, there also arises a sense of wonder and reverence, for contemplating God is not merely seeing a light or feeling a presence. It is fully understanding for the first time who God is and what it means to be part of His creation. In this revelation, your loved one understands that God is not only the creator, but the origin and final destination of all that exists. In this encounter, they perceive that every moment of their life was known to God, and that every step taken led them to this revelatory moment. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. This insight is an epiphany that floods them with gratitude and amazement. The weight of life, with all its joys and sorrows, dissipates before the clarity of this understanding. In this divine encounter, a union of souls occurs, an instant in which your loved one no longer feels distant from God, but is fully merged with Him. It is a return to the origin, a reunion with the source of all love and life. For in Him we live and move and have our being. At this crucial moment, your loved one not only sees God, but knows Him in a way that surpasses any earthly knowledge. This encounter with God marks the climax of their existence, the end of their earthly pilgrimage, and the beginning of their eternity in the presence of the divine. With this revelation, with this new understanding, your loved one surrenders completely, aware of being in the arms of an eternal love, in the presence of a God who has known and loved them since before time existed. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Enveloping your loved one in ineffable peace, they immerse themselves in the perpetual light of God, finally finding their true home. We sincerely thank you for the support you have provided since our beginnings in creating audio-visual content. Blessings to you and yours. Now, we present the 9 common experiences at death. First, the meeting with deceased loved ones. Second, the detachment from material possessions. Third, the vision of their own body from an external perspective. Fourth, they visit in dreams those still alive to say goodbye. Fifth, they relive their life as if it were a movie. Sixth, they encounter a bright light. Seventh, they discover the meaning of their life. Eighth, they glimpse the beyond. And ninth, they recognize God. If you are intrigued to know what people perceive when dying, do not miss our next video on how to communicate with your guardian angel. This topic is crucial. As mentioned by Father Pio, your guardian angel can not only facilitate communication with your loved ones who are no longer with us, but also offer you comfort and guidance to move forward after a loss. Many testimonies support the assistance received by their guardian angels in difficult times. Discover more about the hidden power of effectively communicating with our guardian angel in the next video. Inspired by transcendental figures like Father Pio. See you in the next video.